Okay, there's something that I think is a little bit weird when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, and I don't know why this is happening because I don't feel that the Nintendo Switch 2 has to prove itself again, or the concept of what Nintendo is trying to do, or the system itself when it comes to certain games. It makes no sense. And maybe some of you guys are seeing this, some of you guys are not, but it seems like it's kind of intensified when it comes to online and what people are saying with different games that are coming to the platform. Now, this is very different than what we got with the Nintendo Switch 1, where pretty much there was no AAA games day and date. And if they did come, it was stuff like Mortal Kombat 1 or Mortal Kombat, and there was just issues across the board. But now we're getting stuff from Capcom. Now we're getting things like Final Fantasy from Square Enix, and it's starting to become a lot more clear, and the gap is not as large. Now, that gap could widen once again once the PlayStation 6 and the next Xbox PC hybrid thingy come out. But at the end of the day, the concept of what the Nintendo Switch 2 has not changed from what made the Nintendo Switch 1 one of the best selling systems of all time, and which could ultimately end up being the best selling system of all time. So we're going to talk about that and a number of different revelations that have happened with that coming up here, because I just find it fascinating, plus some other Nintendo Switch 2 news. But before we get into that, please make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are someone new. We are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 once we hit 150K. Plus, we're going to have a bunch of other giveaways and cool stuff going down. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell, and drop a comment below on what you think about the Nintendo Switch 2 so far. Okay, let's get into this, because I'm starting to see quite a number of people. A good friend of mine on Twitter, Mr. Ryan, he put up something, and I found it to be very interesting that he's talking about how people are complaining or talking about the hair in the video games, or comparing it with PlayStation 5, a massive, big behemoth of a system, compared to a small tablet like hybrid device that the Nintendo Switch 2 is. I don't think anybody's really expecting, at least 99.9% of people are not expecting Nintendo Switch 2 to be able to keep up with everything with a big, more expensive box, especially if you're talking about PlayStation 5 Pro or anything. Nobody's really expecting that. But what people are expecting is that the Nintendo Switch 2 can run some of these games that are coming out. And what we've seen from Capcom, at least with Resident Evil Requiem and Pragmata, which recently got a demo, is that it's actually looking pretty solid. And frame rate wise, at least for Pragmata so far, not bad at all. And people, I don't know why they're doing this, but they're trying to downplay what the Nintendo Switch 2 can do as a hybrid with the graphics in there, and saying, oh, well, the PlayStation 5 can do this, as if we didn't already know this. And I just found it silly. Like I said, my boy made a great video on Twitter. Check it out. Might even play it for you guys.
My favorite thing on the internet right now is Nintendo Switch 2 Hairgate. It's where they compare the PS5 or Xbox Series X version to the Switch 2, and they complain about the hair and the missing visual effects. And everybody's talking about the difference in the hair quality, not the game, not the gameplay, not the frame rate, not the performance and the stability of the performance, but the hair. I play Final Fantasy VII Remake on performance mode, so the hair always kind of looked like this, but this isn't even how the hair looks in the Switch 2 version. Like, this is from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and it looks more like this. It's just a little less defined, but like, that's not unplayable. That's not stopping your enjoyment of the game. Also, guys, this is a Nintendo Switch 2. This is a PS5. Of course, it's going to look better. I don't know what the damage is with people getting mad that games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth are coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, because if you actually cared about this game being exclusive to the PS5, you would have bought it, and then Square Enix wouldn't have had to go multi-platform to help cover development costs.
And I think he has a great point with what he's trying to say. I think that more options are always great. And listen, we got cell phones, we've got tablets, we've got all sorts of stuff. We got portable TVs. We've got all sorts of things that we can take anywhere. Why not video games? But obviously, you're not going to be able to get the same level of fidelity as like a big, massive LG OLED TV, the highest end, in a small portable type of TV. But you still have it in order to use it when you need it, or if you just want to use it when you feel like it. So I feel that there's no need for people to be talking as if this wasn't a normal thing or to be expected, considering what we just got with the Nintendo Switch 1. The hybrid concept is proven. And what I mean by that, when I say that the hybrid concept is proven, is that the Nintendo Switch 1 is significantly weaker than the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, and obviously the Xbox Series and PlayStation 5, but the system still sold way more than all of those systems. People still played games that didn't have the most highest end graphics and didn't have the best frame rate, because they traded that off for portability and Nintendo's first-party games, and it sold better than all of these high-powered systems. So I don't understand why people wouldn't want to see that again. It already happened with the Nintendo Switch 1. Now we have the Nintendo Switch 2, which is better. The system is off to the fastest start ever when it comes to any dedicated console out there, and it's doing really well. So what's the point, in my opinion, of getting really uptight about comparisons and about graphics and about this and about that? It doesn't really make any sense to me, at least, because we saw with the Nintendo Switch 1 that people were more than willing to spend their money on a hybrid platform, even though it wasn't as powerful as the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox Series or the PlayStation 5 or whatever the case is. People voted with their wallet, overwhelmingly voted with their wallet. And once again, Nintendo Switch 1 might end up being the best-selling system of all time when it's all said and done. It's only about 4 million units away from the PlayStation 2, and it's gaining on it. It's still selling. So people have voted with their wallets. People want to take advantage of portable play. People want great Nintendo first-party games. That's kind of what sells the system at this point. And if you go back and you look at the handheld market just overall, that's what sold it in the first place. Hey, I can take this game like Mario or Kid Icarus or Tetris or Dr. Mario or whatever games that Nintendo was making and licensing, and I can play that anywhere because I'm not at home right now. When I travel, in the car, on the bus, the subway, wherever, in a plane, I can take this and play it. And I can't do that with my original Nintendo Entertainment System or my PlayStation 1. It's one of the reasons why Sony wanted to break into the handheld market back in the PSP days and the PlayStation Vita, and it had varying levels of success, and now they have the PlayStation Portal. Well, why would they make the PlayStation Portal? Because they see that the hybrid concept is a proven concept, and they want their money too. They made the Backbone controller with mobile phones. It's just something that has been done, and you're not expecting with the PS Portal or with the Backbone, or with a Steam Deck, or with other types of hybrid systems or portable systems to be able to have the level of a PS5 Pro or a high-end PC. That's not the point of it. Whereas if we don't already know what the Switch 2 is going to be about as a hybrid, after the Nintendo Switch 1 sold 156 million units plus, it just makes no sense to me. To me, it's just silly, and it's just people console warring and being weird for no reason at this point. But let's just be honest here. It's not the fact that Nintendo just has a portable system. You look at other handheld PCs, for example, specifically the Steam Deck. I mean, those systems have not done anywhere near the level of success that the Nintendo Switch 1 and the Nintendo Switch 2 at this point have done. They're overpriced, not the Steam Deck specifically, but with the like ROG Ally X, for example, the Xbox ROG Ally X, that's like $1,000 plus. They're flopping left and right for most people. So it's about providing a easy, streamlined experience for a handheld or dedicated platform that comes with everything all built in to be able to do what you want to do, whether that's portable play and easily docking it, that comes with it, all the cables, everything ready to go, and then being able to play it on the TV, or even splitting the Joy-Cons and being able to have out of the box split screen multiplayer right then and there, nothing else needed. These are all the things that make it very convenient and easy, that make it popular with a casual consumer or with not the craziest hardcore gamer out there that's looking to tinker with every single little thing or every single little aspect of a PC or a handheld PC. And I think personally, for me at least, that's why it's blowing it out of the water when it comes to the sales on top of Nintendo's patented first party games. That's the most important thing, but I think some of those other things are the reason why. We also look at the updates when it comes to the ROG Ally or when it comes to the Steam Deck and a lot of these systems. None of these companies that own these devices have given us anything. There are 0 sales updates from all of them, and Matt Piscatella confirmed in an interview with Spawnwave that the ROG Ally X definitely seems like it flopped. So it's one of those things to where, in my opinion at least, you have the Nintendo Switch 1, now you have the Nintendo Switch 2. They both sold really good, starting out here with the Switch 2 and of course the Switch 1. This is a proven concept. This is a proven thing that it has done, and other systems when it comes to hybrids or handheld PCs have not had anywhere near the level of success. So I don't see why this is something to where there needs to be a lot of arguing back and forth that I see all over the place, whether it's in comment sections or other videos. It just seems a bit weird to me, at least, and I'm just making an observation from it all. And I've also seen, crazy enough, and I don't see people kind of going off about this, but apparently there's a high number of Xbox ROG Ally X's being sent back in. That was a report from Windows Central. So it seems like this thing is shaping up to be a little bit of a disaster when it comes down to it. But once again, that's just what I'm seeing, and that's just my opinion when it comes to the Switch 2. It doesn't have to prove itself again in terms of the concept, but Nintendo does have to prove that they can consistently bring out great games for the platform. Now, they usually do that. If you go all the way back, they do a great job of putting out games for the platforms that they do have. So I am expecting the Nintendo Switch 2 to get a lot of great games this year and to get a lot of third-party support and other things. So that's something that people can talk about and are going to be looking and critiquing and criticizing. I'm all good there. We'll see what they do at this next upcoming Nintendo Direct that they're going to have, I think, at some point, revealing maybe like Yoshi release date, maybe a new 3D Mario. We'll see what happens with next Gen 10 Pokemon. There's a lot of stuff that they still have to do for this year and to prove. So I'm not saying that people aren't allowed to critique or talk about that. But when it comes to the system of the Nintendo Switch 2, the comparisons to PlayStation 5 or PCs or Xbox, to me, that kind of stuff is silly. It's like, yes, that's fine, you can do it, but let's not act like we don't already know how most of the time it should go down. Yes, there's going to be a graphical downgrade. Yes, it's not going to look as good, but you're going to have the ability to take it anywhere that you want without a handheld PC to do save data transfers and things like that, or without a PS Portal to stream over the internet, or without some other type of device. It all comes built into one with the Nintendo Switch 2 at $450, where you can get games like Pragmata, or you can get Resident Evil running and looking pretty good. Not bad in my opinion, at least. But those are my thoughts when it comes to it with the Nintendo Switch 2 and kind of what's happening. What do you guys think about that? You can let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic, we're going to talk about CyberConnect 2 and how they're going to be announcing a brand new project, a 30th anniversary of the company, and that's going to be happening on February 16th. So CyberConnect 2 has announced plans that it will reveal a brand new 30th anniversary video game project on Monday, February 16th. The Japanese company says that the 30th anniversary project is accumulation of CyberConnect 2's cultivated technology, strength, and courage. CyberConnect 2 CEO Hiroshi Matsuyama informed fans and said that it will be a completely new game title that serves as accumulation of the technology, strength, and courage CyberConnect 2 has cultivated thus far. They make it just seem like it's going to be something very grand. Now, CyberConnect 2, for those who don't know, they help out on a lot of different games, Bandai Namco and other companies, but they also make the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm series, and that has made them a ton of money over the last decade plus. Now, they haven't had anything really truly new in that series since I think 2016 or so. Plus they had the expansion, the Road to Boruto expansion thingy. But yeah, they haven't really done much. So could this be a brand new Naruto arena fighter? I think that'd probably make the most money for them if they're doing something, because those Naruto games always sell pretty well, but it could be something different. Now, they also made Azura's Wrath, and Azura's Wrath is a very interesting PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 action game. It took some of the craziest, I would say, big set pieces that you would expect in a CyberConnect 2 game from like Naruto, but they made it into their own thing when it comes to Azura and the myth and the legend of that character. And they just kind of turned it into a crazy action adventure game. So could it be something in the same line as that, or could it be a really massive, big, actual new Ultimate Ninja Storm game like Storm 5 or something like that? Either one would be pretty big, and it'd be something that I'd want to play. Now, would I get angry at it later? Maybe, especially if it's Naruto and it's not good and it's an arena fighter that does the same arena fighter stuff, then maybe I'm not too happy with that. But at this point, it's been a while since I've been able to play anything in Naruto that's even somewhat decent. They've taken so long. Shinobi Strikers stunk, and they had like that Generations or whatever else that thing was. That was just a rehash. That was not new. So we'll see what they do here. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic, but still on the side of skepticism, if that makes any sense. So what do you guys think that CyberConnect 2 could do here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, now we're going to move over to the next topic here, and we're going to talk about Mario Tennis Fever. We have the opening cinematic that Nintendo's released. I also want to go over that while this game is dropping this week, on Thursday, there is a demo in Best Buys, I think Target, Walmart, certain participating stores. You can go try out Mario Tennis Fever. And the early impressions that I've gotten from people that have gotten a chance to try it out is that it's really good. And this ultimately could become the best Mario sports game in the modern era. Now, there's a lot of people that have had issues with Mario sports games, especially the Mario sports games on the Nintendo Switch 1. Now, before that, Wii U, yeah, there was an issue with Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, but there wasn't really many Mario sports games on that system at all. Back on the Wii and the GameCube, things were a little bit different back then. It was a little bit better on the 3DS, and it was definitely better on the GameCube. People like those, but it's been a problem since then for the most part. And especially in the Switch 1 era, the issues with the content in the game and how long it takes for updates and online play, it does seem like they've taken all of that feedback with this one. We're not seeing anything like, hey, here's some extra characters or extra whatever that you can download after a certain time or whatever. It's just all in the game. Maybe there's going to be DLC, but they're not saying anything, and I think that was smart. And then they paired that with the largest roster ever, and with the single player campaign, and with everything when it comes to game modes. So they did a smart approach, and a lot of the feedback that people gave, a lot of the issues that people had with the Mario sports games are being solved here with this one. And Mario Tennis Aces, out of the last Mario sports games, the trio that we got with Strikers, in addition to Super Rush with the golf game, and Mario Tennis Aces, Aces was probably the best one, although it launched a bit rough when it comes to content, the online play, some of the things in there, but they were able to patch it up, and I think probably had the best impression out of the 3 sports games on the Nintendo Switch 1, and I think it also sold best as well. So I'm fully expecting Mario Tennis Fever to do really well. I think this is going to ultimately end up doing really well, and since it's coming out pretty early in the life of the system, I think it has a chance to sell well for an extended period of time throughout the life of the Nintendo Switch 2, potentially even better than Mario Tennis Aces, which I think did over 3 million units plus, and I think it could do better than that because it's going to be a better game from the jump, and it looks great, plays great, looks like the online is going to be on point, plus the single player could be fun too. So check out the demo, that's already in stores. Mario Tennis Fever coming out on February 12th, that's coming out this Thursday, and I'm going to be checking out that game too, so it should be a lot of fun. So what do you guys think when it comes to everything that we talked about here? I know there was a lot. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.